careering wildly from topic to topic, which I guess, it suits the drunken conversational style that we're aiming for, if nothing else.
Two losers, drunken ramblings.
So that is the name of the show, guys.
That is the name of the show.
We need to remember to keep mentioning this. It's all about brand identity, mate.
TLDR.
TLDR.
It's a brilliant name. I have to give you that. You get all the points for that one.
Thank you. It works on many levels. Although I should stress that since we came up with this concept, I have since got a full-time job, a girlfriend, and moved out of my mother's house, thereby ruining the vast majority of the premise in one fell swoop in episode 1.
Are you implying you are no longer a loser?
To an extent, I am possibly no longer a loser, but I can still drunkenly ramble. But
Are you implying I am a loser?
I have ruined a good 50% of the podcast name, which I invented before episode 1 has even been recorded.
Hereby I bestow upon you the title of honorary loser.
Thank you. I mean, I am still, for all intents and purposes, I feel like my complete lack of social graces more than makes up and keeps me in that bracket. The other day I went to like a hot dog stand, like a hot dog vendor thing.
Yeah.
It was like a German thing. It doesn't matter. And I was like, because I get all nervous, I have to rehearse conversations in my head. So as I'm approaching the hot dog stand, I noticed that the lady who was vending was rather an attractive young lady, and that made me more nervous. And I was like, she looks pleasant. She looks like she's in a good mood. I will give her money for goods and services, and she will give me my food. And then she'll say, have a nice day. And I thought, I'll say, you too. And she gave me the hot dog, and she went, enjoy your meal. And I went, you too.
Well, that's a classic one. That happens to a lot of people, doesn't it?
Yeah, still a loser. Still a loser.
Social skills. How do I social skills?
Yeah. What a tangled web we weave.
It's a comic I come across quite often. It's like one of the people that check you in for your luggage at the airport.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she goes, have a nice flight, and the people go, you too, and then they're like, oh no, what have I done? And then the last panel is of her going like, "Mo ha ha ha! I feed on your misery."
Amazing. So I mean, how are you? Like generally today, how are you feeling? How is the mood heading into this recording? Are you feeling jazzed?
I'm feeling quite alright. Yeah. I was a bit sad yesterday because this is going to date the episode. The passing of Terry Pratchett.
I was assuming this would come up at some point. Obviously, big news story this week.
Yeah. It is because, once again, a mutual friend of ours, when I first moved to England, he said, well, if you're coming to London and you need something to read, buy a Discworld book.
Yeah.
This is Scythe. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll pick up a couple of Discworld books then. So I bought Going Postal and I bought Jingo. I wasn't too enamored with Jingo, but Going Postal, that set the mark for me of...
That's my catcher in the rye.
Yeah, that was my catcher in the rye. That was like, oh, this is how English. So that's why I started, that's basically where I got all my penchant for shit puns and horrible wordplays from. God, it's from that book.
Terry Pratchett has got a lot to answer for, and I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Plus, he's now dead, so he can't answer for anything.
He's just like Jimmy Savile.
No. Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, take that, Terry Pratchett fans. Some fucking... Jesus Christ.
This is gonna be popular.
Yeah, so at StuBram2 on Twitter.
Yeah. Don't tell StuBram2.
Any comments or criticisms for the show?
Tell him that Terry Pratchett is just as bad as Jimmy Savile, and tell him you'll lynch him.
Obviously, that isn't true.
No.
I should confess, and I feel like this sort of. I'm like a card-carrying nerd, and I feel like this disqualifies me a little bit. I've never read any Terry Pratchett books. Ever. And all my friends are big Terry Pratchett fans, but I'm still sort of saddened by the passing, just because he was such a great guy. He was such a big activist for various things.
He was genuinely a lovely man.
Yeah, genuinely lovely man.
I'm going to say that without any sense of irony. Meant he was genuinely lovely.
Yeah, absolutely. Always came across as just being a genuine, lovely guy, and achieved so much in the face of such adversity. He's an inspiration, even without having read any of his works. Great guy.
He was the best-selling author of the 90s in Britain.
Was he really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's brilliant. That's a pretty...
By himself, he was a certain percentage of the entire book market of
like
the
all
UK.
Books read in the country.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And then you get, of course, J.K. Rowling, who now has that completely dominated.
Yeah.
But before that, it was
undeservedly so.
Yeah, no, I'm not slamming
some
her
might say. Not me.
I'm not.
I've already alienated the fans of Terry Pratchett everywhere. I'm not gonna do the Harry Potter fans as well now.
Well, maybe I'll just do that. But, J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter are not my thing. I couldn't read the first book because I thought this is like Roald Dahl, but a bit shit.
A bit shit. I mean, luckily for me, I was I guess about 10 years old. You're really old. I was 10 years old. Oh yeah,
cheers.
When the when the first Harry Potter book came out, so that I was big into it. But I read up to The Prisoner of Azkaban, and then they introduced time travel, and I was like, no, this is going to go downhill now real fast.
Well, I watched the first 4 movies, and then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just going to quit here.
Yeah.
You can enjoy it, but it's not for me.
Yeah, same as all my friends love it, but it doesn't do it for me. I don't know.
All your friends are young.
Yeah.
That's not quite as an insult as the other way around.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Unless, I mean, I guess you could have turned that around on me if you wanted to.
Bollocks.
If you wanted to pursue that avenue.
But yeah, after his passing, I watched a documentary he did in 2011. And it was about assisted suicide in the UK.
I saw that. Saw a documentary when it first aired. Yeah.
Wow, that was really that hit me hard. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, hard to watch.
Not just because of him, but just in general.
Yeah.
And then he defiantly goes, the moment I stop being able to write is the moment I want to die. And at that point, he was already writing by dictating to his assistant, Rob.
Yeah.
So it's if your mind is your biggest asset, literally everything we are is our mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that goes, I can imagine you want to say, okay, I quit, let me off.
Yeah, I mean, because before you lose your identity, you don't want to... I mean, in a way, I guess, once your mind goes, then I guess a person has sort of died.
Ceased
in a way.
To be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because after that, you just become a burden, really. And
Jesus, this has taken a fucking turn.
I know!
The TLDR podcast, come on, guys. Hilarious podcast time. Fucking
hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Elephants are scared of mice. No, it's the other way around.
Wow.
Happy death, everybody.
But I mean, I guess we did have to touch upon that. A lot of, massively popular writer. I assume a lot of, I guess our target audience, would be big Terry Pratchett fans. So
Well, we
have to cover it. We have to cover that, I guess. But yeah, let's get away from dead knights of the realm.
Like Jimmy Savile.
Exactly. We've had 2. I think 2 an episode is enough. 2 per episode is enough.
So we're gonna have a quota on that one.
A quota, yeah.
Yeah, 2 dead nights per episode.
Yeah, 2 nights. Next week, kids, tune in. We'll be doing
King Arthur
and Richard Attenborough. I almost said Richard Hammond there.
Richard Hammond isn't dead yet.
He's not a knight of the realm either. Which was more the point I was making. I mean, fucking hell,
Right, so Richard Hammond, right?
Yeah.
The little fella. He did a show on CBBC, and I'll freely admit, I had several years where I worked night shifts, and when I got home in the morning, the first thing I'd do is turn on CBBC or ITV with the Tune Attic whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, I remember too.
I just watch all the kids shows because I was dead tired at 8
I was going to say, I guess when you finish night shift, the only thing you can handle, like anything more, because Countdown is on the other side on Channel 4, and you don't need that in your life when you've just done night shift.
No, at that point I couldn't handle that. So
Yeah,
I'm
no
like,
fucking way.
I'll just watch the kids shows. I can get away with that. I'm an adult. So I watched Richard Hammond's Blast Lab.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds incredible.
It's like half game show, half Mythbusters, half Brainiac. So it's like kids trying out things like, is it possible to kung fu through wooden panels like that?
The verb kung fu.
Well, yeah, it is now a verb. God damn it. So he wears like this leather coat, and he wears like these shabby shirts, and I have to say a decent pair of jeans. But I always thought when he wore that, he looked like he'd gone home, wrote fan fiction, and was like, if Richard Hammond was the Doctor in Doctor Who, he would wear a long coat like the 10th, David Tennant, but it would be made out of leather like the 9th, Christopher Eccleston. And then he would wear his shirt and jeans. That's what that looks like. He's like, oh, hello, I'm going to do science, mate.
Blast Lab was just Richard Hammond's fanfic of himself as the Doctor.
That's exactly what it looks like.
That is an amazing premise. I'm going to Google the shit out of these pictures when I finish this recording.
Plus, he's got a nan that does karate.
What, as a sidekick? Like,
yes!
That's his fucking Doctor's companion, just...
I fucking know!
Karate from Batfink is...
So, yeah...
There's a reference that no one's going to get.
Batfink. No?
No, yeah, Batfink, yeah.
Batfink, yeah. Batfink.
Yeah, you get it. I'm just...